You laat nimmer fi, behag you in libila van Adonai, to river may the words of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. The Book of Devarim opens. The desert is behind us. The physical borders of the promised land are directly ahead. But this is not merely a shift in geography. It is a brutal collision of two entirely different realities. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, stands before a massive crowd. He is weeks away from his own death. He does not offer a gentle farewell. He does not offer comforting platitudes. Instead, he delivers a crushing, relentless address. He systematically lists every catastrophic failure of the previous 40 years. He recalls the sin of the spies. He recounts the rebellions. He details the exact coordinates of their lowest moments. On the surface, this is baffling. The people listening to this address are not the people who committed those crimes. The generation that sinned is in the desert, died in the desert. Moses is speaking to their children, to the new generation. Why burden them with the sins of the previous men that died? Why crush their morale right before they're about to march into the theater of war? The answer is completely structural. Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, is not acting as a historian. He is acting as a spiritual architect. He is violently ripping out their old operating system and installing an entirely brand new one. The survival of the Jewish people depends entirely on them understanding the mechanics of the transition they are about to make. To understand this transition, we must open the Kabbalah blueprints. We must look at the profound Kabbalah mechanic of Mayin Duchrin, masculine waters, and Mayin Nukvin, feminine waters. This concept defines the exact physics of how divine energy interacts with physical matter. Mayin Duchrin, masculine waters, is divine initiation from above. It is pure grace. It requires absolutely zero human effort. It is a unilateral gift dropping out of the heavens. Conversely, Mayin Nukvin, feminine waters, is human initiation from below. It is the sheer physical effort, the friction, and the action required from a man to trigger a response from the divine, from above. A sustainable reality demands both. but the sequence is absolutely critical. Again, a sustainable reality demands both, but the sequence of this is critical. For 40 years, the entire nation existed in a pure, unadulterated state of mayim duchrin, of masculine waters. Their existence was a suspended animation. They were entirely passive. When they were hungry, bread, mon, fell from the sky. When they were thirsty, a rock split open and poured out rivers. When they traveled, a pillar of fire led them to the clouds of glory, hovered about them, flattering the terrain and burning away serpents. They did not plow the earth. They did not plant seeds. They did not harvest wheat. They did not build the fences. They were floating inside a protective divine incubator. It was a state of total reliance. It was beautiful, but it was temporary. A soul cannot mature in an incubator. If you remove friction, you remove growth. If you remove friction, you remove growth. When everything is handed to you from above, your own internal mechanisms atrophy. You become a spiritual infant. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, knows exactly what is about to happen. The moment they cross the Jordan River, the incubator shatters to 1,000 pieces. The manna, the man from heaven, the bread from heaven will cease. The miraculous well will vanish. The protective clouds will dissipate. They are about to step into a heavy, unforgiving physical dimension. The land of Israel operates on a strict, brutal laws of nature. If they want bread, they must break their backs plowing the fields. If they want safety, they must forge iron swords and bleed on the battlefield. They are shifting from a passive state of receiving to an intensely active state of initiating. They must transition to generating Mayin Nukwin, feminine waters. This is why Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, brings up the sin of the spies. He's isolating the exact root of the disease. Why did the previous generation refuse to enter the land? And we have spoken about this. They were not cowards. They were addicts. They were addicted to the spiritual ecstasy of the desert. Everything was handed to them. And they looked across the border. And they saw giants. They saw fortified walls. They saw a world of dense physical labor. They saw a reality that demanded their sweat and blood. They looked at the heavy machinery of the physical world and they completely collapsed. They wanted to remain in the passive light of the desert. They refused to engage in the physical world. They refused to generate the effort from below. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, is looking at the new generation and he is issuing a dire warning. He is telling them they cannot carry the desert mindset into the new land. It will annihilate them. You cannot stand in the physical field and wait for bread to fall. You must attack the earth. You must drive the plow into the soil. You must generate the friction for yourself. The divine energy is no longer going to initiate a process. It is waiting in suspension. It is waiting for you to move first. It is waiting for you to move first. Your physical action is the trigger mechanism that unlocks the heavens. Every single commandment in the Book of Devarim is geared towards this reality. It is a manual for remaining spiritually connected while up to your neck with physical mud. When you harvest your crop and leave the corner of the field to the poor, you're not just doing a nice deed. You are wiring the physical soil to the spiritual grid. When you conduct honest business in your marketplace, you are generating massive friction. You are choosing integrity over theft in a cutthroat environment. That friction is a massive surge of energy directed upward. It forces the upper dimensions to respond to your reality. Think about a massive industrial engine. You can not start it by simply looking at it, staring at it. You cannot start it by wishing. You must grip the heavy iron crank or the key, and you must use brute force to turn the gears. You must create the initial violent spark. Only then does the engine roar into life. The physical world is that heavy iron engine, and you are the operator. You must turn the crank. You must initiate a process. This framework completely redefines how we view our own lives. We all experience desert phases. We all have moments of unearned inspiration. You wake up and you feel deeply connected. Your prayers flow effortlessly. Your business deals align perfectly without any struggle. You feel a profound sense of clarity. But know this is a gift from above. It is the taste of the incubator. But unfortunately, it is entirely temporary. It is given to you solely so you remember what the light looks like. Because eventually, the border is crossed. The inspiration vanishes overnight. You wake up and you feel completely hollow. the physical world suddenly feels incredibly heavy. The obligations pile up. The emails demand answers. The financial pressures crush your chest. Your relationship requires exhausting, relentless maintenance. You look around and it feels like the divine presence has completely abandoned the area. You feel alone in the field. You have not been abandoned. You have been promoted. The universe has removed the training wheels. The heavens have stopped initiating because they are demanding that you step up. It is easy to be spiritual when the manna is falling, when the bread is falling from the sky. It is very easy to be spiritual. It requires zero character to be righteous in a bubble. The true test of human being, of human consciousness, is what they do when the lights go out. The true test is what you do when the physical reality is screaming at you, and you still force yourself to operate with absolute integrity. When you drag yourself out of bed to pray, when your body feels like lead, when you bite your tongue and stop yourself from destroying someone with an insult, when you conduct a business transaction with total transparency, even when you could have done it easily to cheat and win, in those heavy, difficult moments, you're not just surviving, you are generating the most powerful spiritual force in existence. You are generating the waters from below. You are forcing the heavens to recognize your sovereignty. You're proving to heavens that you are no longer a passive recipient, but an active, driving partner in the mechanics of creation. So here's our real world challenge. This is how we bring the heavens down to earth for this week. Identify one specific area in your life where you've been waiting for inspiration to strike. Simply waiting. You are waiting. An area where you've been perhaps entirely passive, hoping for a sudden burst of energy, or a change in circumstances, or even a miraculous shift in another person's behavior. It could be a stagnant project, a fractured relationship, or a personal discipline. Stop waiting for the manna. The manna is not coming. This week you must execute a deliberate act of tikkun hamidot. Tikkun hamidot, rectification of the character traits. By generating the friction yourself. Take one concrete, heavy physical action in that exact area, regardless of how hollow or uninspired you feel. Force the mechanism to turn. Initiate the action from below through the sheer unyielding force of your will, and demand the heavens' response to your effort. You be the first one. Initiate the effort, regardless of what your mindset is, whether you think it might not do nothing, and regardless of what you feel and how you feel. Just go out there and simply do it. If the concept we explored regarding the shift from passive receiving to active relentless generation in Devarim, where a heavy awakening to your true responsibilities wait. Until next week, when we unveil the secrets of profound, desperate prayer and the mechanics of shattering celestial gates in Parshat Devarim. I hope you enjoyed this masterclass lesson, and tune in for more next time, Bezrat Hashem. With God's help. Thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful time. And I hope you find the strength to do the first step forward, to initiate process, even if it's difficult. I bless you with strength and I bless you with resolve. For now, all the best, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.